Very much for making a date. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. Now to our very first story, and the year-on-year inflation. Before we move on to the inflation story, Head of Africa Regional Markets at UBA, Abiola Beria, says the bank will by 2020 list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. According to her, the public trust invested in the bank has resulted in the decision to share its dividend with the investing Ghanaian public. She shared her thoughts with Joy Business at the launch of the bank's mobile money application.
The regional chief executive of 6 African countries, including Ghana, Abiola Bewa, speaking to Joy Business at the sidelines of the bank's launch of a mobile money application, said it is time for the bank to share its profitability with Ghanaians by listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
We believe that the cake is worth sharing. So we definitely have that, not because of the minimum capital, but we believe that Ghanaians have patronized us, the Ghanaians have brought us this far. Our customers are loyal. There are people who have been with us right from inception. And it will be good to give everybody, just like these 2 products that we are rolling out to majority of Ghanaians, we will certainly come on the stock exchange to share that cake.
On the minimum capital requirements, Abiola Bewa expressed the bank's confidence in meeting the minimum capital requirement even before the December 2018 deadline. So far, some local banks have made a case for the BOG to extend the deadline for meeting the 400 million cedi requirement. But at the sidelines of the mobile app launched by UBA, Abiola Bewa says the bank's current financials pave way to meeting the requirements.
We all have up to the end of December. Sure. The most important thing is to be en route to meeting it. And like I said, when you see our financials at the end of maybe June, let's say by July, it should be out. So when that is out, you will see that we already met it.
The mobile banking application, which includes advanced biometric features, is expected to change the face of banking in Ghana.
Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, says it will soon come out with findings on the 10 investment firms that have been placed under investigations for breaching the securities law. The capital markets regulator last month placed these firms under investigation and also warned the public not to deal with them. One of the firms, EM Capital, has already taken the issue to court. Here's the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Daniel Ugbami Tete.
We have taken a look and we have done some revisions, and we are doing further consultations with the necessary stakeholders. And we want to believe that once we are set, we'll be able to announce. I wouldn't want to put out any dates because I've already indicated some dates that we're not able to go by. But we have to consult.
Hopefully before end of this year?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Before the end of this year. It will be sooner than that.
So how far have you gone with investigations into the 10 troubled companies, the investment firms?
Well, what we did say is that investigations are continuing. When we are ready, we would issue another statement and advise the public. So until we issue the statement, I'll just say watch the space.
So how soon should we expect a statement?
Watch the space.
Away from the capital market now, and the first batch of graduates to be enrolled onto the enterprise model of the nation's Builders Corps will begin work in the first week of August. The Trade and Industry Ministry is engaging some businesses on modalities for effective participation. As part of the engagement, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, says it will employ 80% of the graduate participants of the program. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Robert Ahomka Lindsay, says this will culminate into a signing of a memorandum of understanding. Prince Appiah has the details from Kumasi.
About 200 businesses under bodies like the Association of Ghana Industries and the Ghana Chamber of Commerce attended the meeting in Kumasi. The Free Zones Board and other government agencies, as well as development partners like the USAID, JICA and GIZ, are also involved. Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Robert Ahomka-Lindsay, says it will culminate in the signing of a memorandum of understanding.
What that seeks to do is look at how we are going to work with the 200 that were here. Our target is 500 companies to attach the NAPCO graduates to those companies as part of a very structured and detailed apprenticeship program. And that is the way we're looking at it with the businesses here. Because we realize that right now most of the companies are still very much having come through a tough period, getting things, let's say, sorted. And our idea is that we are going to sign an MOU with every one of these companies with the viewpoint of taking the graduates that they need. Let me stress, the graduates that they need to help them run their business. When we do that, we've agreed with them over a 3-year period the sorts of programs that we have, such as the fact that each of the graduates will have 12 weeks of guaranteed training. 6 weeks of that will be done by government. Another 6 weeks will be done by the company in line with the jobs that the graduates are doing in the company themselves. And in effect, what we're doing is preparing our Enterprise Ghana participants, which are the companies, to ensure that they are ready to take on our graduates on August 6th when they come in.
A monthly allowance of 700 Ghana cedis for personnel has generated misunderstanding among some graduates. Mr. Hamkalinse revealed government will pay the allowances for only the first part of the 3 years.
Government is looking to support them, and that support, by necessity of prudent budget, has to have a time limit. So what we basically stated for one and a half of the 3 years, government will pay for that support. We will continue to provide the 6 weeks training as government all the 3 years. The middle of the second year, the companies will pick up the cost, and the third year, they will take on the costs. Because what we're trying to do in most of the cases is integrate these graduates into the businesses of these companies, so that we hope and aspire. And part of our agreement is that by the end of the middle of the third year, we should be in a situation where it's a seamless transition into the corporation, because already they would have been paying for them for the past year. And so the uptake doesn't become so much of a hurdle, but a process where government has facilitated that process.
The Association of Ghana Industries has said it will employ 80% of graduate participants under the Nation Builders Corps program. Ashanti Mbono Ahafo Zonal Chairman of the AGI, Ifwa Jimfua Osui Chow, has been speaking to Loud Business.
AGI is actually to support the government in interviewing the applicants, one, and then to help the government to enroll some of the applicants into the private sector, and then to give them the on-the-job training, and also to retain them, some of the good ones. So we promised that we are ready to employ about 80% of the people who will be training with us. But it depends on the people who are going to be trained anyway.
Prince Apia reporting.
Now, International Labour Organization ILO reports indicate an estimated 2.34 million cases, including 360,000 fatal accidents and an estimated 1.95 million fatal work-related diseases occur each year at the workplace. As the world marks International Day for Safety and Health at Work, Joy Business hit the streets of Accra and tried to find out from some employees if indeed safety at work affects their productivity. Karen Dodo reports.
In Ghana here, I've realized there are two sectors of work. You have your professional sector and you have the construction sector. Now, in the professional sector, everybody's in an office and in a closed space. So I would say, or I would assume, it's pretty safe in there. But now, as I've spent a couple of days in a crowd going around the cities, looking at all the construction, big jobs, projects going on, I do see a lot of safety issues there.
I'm concerned about safety. I think that in the workplace, there has to be a work-life balance, right? So outside of the time you spend at work, you have families that you want to go home to. So obviously, if you can afford to take proper breaks and have a good schedule, then it helps you to be a healthier person. You're less likely to fall into work sick or come in jaded or tired. So I think, it makes a difference.
When you know you're safe and you have the right, protective clothing and everything, and then about your safety, you realize you are valued as a human being, so then your productivity will definitely be on the increase.
I believe safety impacts on the productivity for every employee in any organization at all. But the organization where I work, safety is very key. So I don't really have a problem with that, because the foundation for being safe at work is something we really look at.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, about 2.9 million non-fatal injuries are recorded annually in the U.S. alone. Now, this may not seem threatening, but then there are some measures that people here in Ghana are calling for as we mark the World Day for Safety and Health at workplaces. The general concern is that government will ensure that our working environments are more safer and healthier for we, the employees. Reporting for Joy Business, Karen Dodu.
It's live on the marketplace for today. And moving on to one of our top stories, the year-on-year inflation rate for the month of May 2018 has increased to 9.8% from the 9.6% recorded in April. Increase in the inflation rate for both food and non-food sectors were key drivers for the general hike in inflation. And Acting Chief Statistician Ban Wadie has disclosed this at a press conference a while ago.
Year-on-year inflation rate for May 2018 was 9.8%. This means that the change in the general price level was 9.8% over the one-year period, May 2017 to May 2018. The year-on-year inflation rate for April 2018 was 9.6%. The monthly change rate for May was 1.0%. This means that the general price level went up by 1.0% between April 2018 and May 2018. The monthly change rate recorded for April 2018 was 0.9%. We look at the consumer price index for the period March to May 2018. And for March 2018, the consumer price index stood at 214.1. And this translates into a yearly change of 10.4% and a monthly change of 1.4%. For April 2018, the index level was 216.0, and this translates into a yearly change of 9.6% and a monthly change of 0.9%. For May 2018, the index, or the consumer price index, stood at 218.1, which translates into a yearly change of 9.8% and a monthly change of 1.0%. The rate of inflation has two main components. We have the food inflation and the non-food inflation. The food inflation rate for May 2018 was 7.6% as compared with 7.4% that was recorded in April 2018. And the non-food inflation rate for May 2018 was 10.9% as compared to 10.6% recorded in April 2018. The non-food inflation rate for May is almost 1.5 times that of the food inflation rate for the same month. That is 10.9% for non-food as compared with 7.6% for food inflation for the month of May 2018. And consistently over the 12-month period, May 2017 to May 2018, we record non-food inflation being higher than that of the food inflation rate. Now, the inflation rate for imported items was 12.4% in May 2018 as compared with 12.0% recorded in April 2018. And the inflation rate for locally produced items was 8.7% in May 2018 as
All right, so that was the acting government statistician Ban Wadie announcing the new inflation rate, which has gone up to 9.8% away from the 9.6% the previous month. Now, to get some more clarification and explanation on this, we've been joined on the phone line by Professor John Gachi. He's an economist with the University of Cape Coast, to get his thoughts. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the marketplace.
Good afternoon.
All right, so we have an inching up of inflation from 9.6 to 9.8%. Now, food but the food inflation and non-food inflation have been cited as, key drivers for this marginal increase. What's your take on this particular situation?
Well, it is very clear that both the food price inflation and that of non-food have all contributing to the increase in the level of inflation. That tells you that we have a lot to do. Our expectation most of the time is that since our economy is largely import-driven, our food price inflation would dip to accommodate some increases in the non-food price inflation. But now that both are going up, that tells us that we need to do a lot of work, especially in the area of agriculture. I'm not surprised because nowadays we are also importing a lot of agricultural produce from neighboring countries, which also contribute to both the non-food price inflation and that of a food price inflation. So that is what it means to us that we need to look at what is happening, what can we do in order to ensure that food prices are stable in the country. And again, the implication is that majority of our people live believing that they want to buy food items at lower prices or stable price. What it means is then that we are putting pressure on the purse of the average Ghanaian, because these are the things that affect average Ghanaians on a daily basis. So the pressure on them is increasing.
Now, Prof, government initiated, as part of the agricultural agenda, the planting for food and jobs. Could it be, interpreted as not working effectively? Because if food, is a factor to inflation, it's quite worrying. What's the situation?
Well, it is very clear that planting for food and jobs has not been implemented very well, and the participation has not been very helpful, and that program ought to be looked at again. We expected over 750,000 young people to participate in it. We didn't take into cognizance the issue of land banks to be made available for these young people to participate. So we didn't get the participation, and the crops that we targeted, if you take maize, for example, we know what happened with respect to armyworm and the rest. So I think the entire program needs to be re-engineered to meet the needs of the country relating to agriculture. That ought to be done. The political tone around the program is too heightened. I think that we need to allow the program for the technocrats to put in place the proper implementation mechanism for the interest of the economy.
Now, interestingly, policy rates, is always assuming a consistent downward trend. Now, is there any correlation, and how would this impact on the economy?
I think you are aware that policy rate significantly is aligned to the rate of inflation because of the inflation targeting we are implementing. But the policy rate is not actually responding the way it ought to. Lending rates are still on the high side. So the reduction in policy rates has not influenced lending so much. So what is happening is that on the macro level, we can tout the policy rate has gone down. But the reality is that businesses, individuals, do not go to the banks to borrow at the policy rate. They borrow at the lending rate. So if the policy rate is not able to be accommodated in the lending rate for a downward lending rate, then reduction in policy rate is not productive for the economy. The same thing applies to even the level of inflation. The level of inflation has gone down. But if you go to the market and look at the food prices have gone down quite significantly. So there is a lot that we need to do so that macroeconomic variables will actually try to mimic what is happening in reality to the people of Ghana. you also look at one macro variable like exchange rate. Nobody goes to the market and exchange the dollar using the Bank of Ghana's rate. The rates that are used are the rates at the foreign bureaus, per the commercial bank. So these things we need to pay attention to them so that the macro situation that we are painting resonates quite well with the players within the economy.
All right, thank you.
That's the job of the economic management team.
All right, many thanks for your time, Professor John Gachi. He's an economist and he's been sharing his thoughts on the current situation where inflation for the month of May has inched up to 9.8%. Now, away from that, Joy Business has been reporting of an imminent attack of cassava brown streak disease as announced by a scientist recently at a meeting in Cotonou, Benin. Now, responding to this announcement of the threat of the cassava brown streak disease, the General Secretary of the Ghana Agric Workers Union, GAU, Edward Karewe, in an interview explains the disease is as a result of human activities coupled with the effects of climate change. He's urging Ghanaians to brace themselves up and work hard to combat these emerging threats.
It will be difficult to, conclude that the fertility is still the same when there have been massive encroachment on the soil. That same soil has been mixed with chemicals and rivers are polluted and so on. What is the overall effect on our environment? And for that matter, our soil fertility and so on. Now, when these things are happening, compounded with climate change, it makes our environment more favorable to certain type of disease and worms. And that is why we will begin to experience more and more of influx of worms, new forms of worms that into our environment. Because climate change is one, and then two, our own, human interventions and pollution and destruction of the soil and the environment gives room for some of these new pests and worms to come. So we should brace ourselves for more. And that is why, we must
now, you are probably aware of the stereotypes about auto mechanics. However, this auto mechanic dispels some of these misconceptions with his unique service of car transformation. Today on the Joy Business Van, we meet a unique auto mechanic, Kevin Quay, who's giving car lovers the power to transform their vehicles to whatever version or style that best suits them. Let's have excerpts.
Kelvin Quay simply loves cars. His passion for cars began way back in his high school days. While his colleagues spent their high school vacation having fun, he spent his at a friend's car fitting workshop. Today, despite having a master's in finance, Kelvin has turned his hobby of fixing cars into a business of car transformation, Standcast Auto Works.
I started when I was in senior high, and that was with Kobe Beck, and he started the whole Beck spectrum. They also do a lot of tuning of cars, and I was following in his footsteps, always going to his end. And it's got to a time that I realized that my passion was no more with tuning cars, that was more of like transforming them. Paint jobs, special paint jobs, upgrades, and a lot more. And I just fell into it. I just knew that I had to follow. This was my criteria. So I just picked it up and.
Don't miss Kevin's full story tonight on Business Live with a repeat on the Marketplace tomorrow, Thursday. And on that note, we wrap up this edition of the Marketplace. It's great having you on board. My name is Emmanuel Abwaji. Have a good one.